Hi, this is Vinney Chopra. Thank you for again joining on my podcast, Apartment Syndication Made Easy. As you know, I wrote that book, which is a top seller in Amazon. Internationally also got a lot of acclaim, reviews and all. And this podcast is about syndication, about commercial investing. I like to bring great guests for you and dig into their story, their successes, and find out some nuggets from them so that you could really enjoy them and learn from them and then implement them. All right. Here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is Vinney Chopra. I hope you're liking the content that we are putting out. My team all over on the internet, many pieces a day in YouTube channel, in Instagram, Twitter, and of course, Facebook pages, LinkedIn, you name it. And again, this is the Syndication Made Easy book that I wrote about 3 years back, became international top seller. Positivity Brings Profitability, my second book. And the third book in the making, that's Senior Living Investing Made Easy. And thanks for giving 5-star reviews and giving us, higher and higher ranking and more downloads each and every week. I really value your input. I've got a great guest today here for you. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Great, Vinney. How are you doing today?
Oh, it's amazing. Amazing. Chris Miles is in the house. He's the cash flow expert and anti-financial advisor. I love it. I love it. It's going to be epic, episode. I hope you're ready to listen. And maybe we might even make it in 2 parts or 3 parts because, if it goes a little bit longer. He's a leading authority in teaching entrepreneurs and professionals how to get their money working for them. Oh, my gosh. Yes, we need the money to have velocity, I call it. And, today he's the author of the podcast show for the Chris Miles Money Show, has been featured in US News, in CNN Money, in Entrepreneurs on Fire, Bigger Pockets, and has proven reputation with his company, Money Ripples. I love that. I was listening to one of your podcasts just recently, the waves and the ripples. I love it. The way you are just kind of sharing, you got to move the money, Chris. And we're going to dig into all those things. And he's built, his personal clients have increased their cash flow by almost $300 million. That's amazing. Welcome to the show, Chris. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you, my audience also, and how you are going anti-financial. Tell me more about it.
Absolutely. Well, I started out as the mainstream financial advisor. I was actually going to go into business consulting when I was in college, but I figured if I'm going to be a business consultant, I should have real life business experience, not just an MBA. So I actually took a hiatus from college, went to go figure out what am I going to do? What kind of business can I start? Yeah. And the first one that came up that was somewhat intriguing to me was being a financial advisor. Little did I know how easy it was to become a financial advisor, because all you have to do is have a heartbeat, not have gone to jail. And even some cases, some did go to jail. Yeah. And then be able to pass a little test, and that's it. And so I started to do that. And I'll tell you, I loved the entrepreneur journey. Like, I loved it so much that I actually dropped out of college. I never went back, never finished. I'm technically a college dropout. Oh, wow. And I ended up going down the entrepreneur path. And I did that for 4 years as a financial advisor. Now, that being said, I'm one of those people, I like evidence. I like to know that things really work, right? And I was doing it because I thought, my goodness, if I can get myself financial freedom by learning more about money, that's perfect. Yeah. However, what I found out is that's not the case, because as I would inherit clients from past financial advisors, ones that had either retired or quit, as I got those that had decades of advice from financial advisors, they weren't financially free.
Oh, wow.
And I remember there was a friend of mine, Doug. It was just like yesterday. I called him up just to wish him a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I knew he was going to do this real estate investing thing with him and his dad. And I called him up thinking, okay, I bet you he's probably broke. And I'm kind of mad at his dad didn't invest money with me. So I'm going to see how much they failed. So then they'll come to me as a financial advisor instead, right? Put their money with me. Well, I got the opposite story. When I asked Doug how he was doing, he said, Chris, it's amazing. I've actually already doubled my dad's income as a professor at the local university.
Wow.
And I said, how? Come on, that's too good to be true.
Yeah.
Right. And he said, no, we're doing it. And so we got in this still a debate about, is real estate legit or not? Are stocks better? And finally, he just said, Chris, let me ask you a question. How many of your clients are financially free where they're not worried about money? And of course, already knowing that answer and thinking back of my clients, even the ones that are retired, even retired physicians, I said, well, they're still worrying about money. So none of them are financially free from that definition.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, way to go, Chris. Way to help nobody. How about this? How many of you guys as financial advisors are financially free, not off the commissions you're earning, but actually doing these mutual fund investments? Wow. And as I thought about it, I said, well, I know there's guys been working here since the late 1970s. So I would say none. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, there's your problem. Well, give me the answer, Doug. No, I won't give you the answer. You just got done arguing with me that stocks were better. I said, listen, I'm open. Give me something. And so he said, go listen to this book, Who Took My Money by Robert Kiyosaki. It's a lesser known Rich Dad Poor Dad book. Yep. And then go listen to this radio show that these real estate investors are putting on locally here in Utah. And so I did. And a few months later, I realized I had a choice. Either I stay as a financial advisor and keep trying to make money because that's what my business is. And that's kind of like my identity. Mm-hmm. Or I stay in integrity and quit. And so I did the latter. I quit. I said, I can't teach this stuff anymore. I feel like I was a deceiver. I was deceived, and I'm teaching people stuff that does not work. It's been proven to not work. So I ended up just being a mortgage broker for a few months, as well as teaching ballroom dancing at the local university. Right. And I was doing that for a time. But after a while, I said, I got to know this stuff too. And so eventually I started to learn what they knew about like real estate investing and passive income, cash flow. And I was able to become financially independent myself later that year. And I was only about 28, almost 29 years old.
Wow.
And then 2007, I came out of retirement to teach people how to do it.
Yeah. Before 39 or something, I heard, right?
Yep. Yeah, I did it. I did it before I was 29. Yeah. Now the recession kicked my butt. I actually went back in the rat race. I was over $1 million in debt, had to dig out of that hole. It took me another 8 years or so, but I was able to get out of the rat race the second time, where I was financially independent the second time by the end of 2016.
16. Wow.
Hi, you are listening to Syndication Made Easy podcast. We will be right back after this short break.
Hi, thank you so much. This is Vinney Chopra, and thank you for subscribing to my podcast and YouTube channel and Facebook pages and all the great things, and LinkedIn. Connect with me. I come live to you every Friday at 9:30 Pacific with Vinney and Bo show. Please also look at that. And also the podcast, which is my apartment syndication made easy. The book I wrote a couple of years back became international top seller on Amazon International now. And then we like to bring great guests for you every week or twice a week sometime to give you a lot of great knowledge. So please subscribe. You give us 5-star reviews on the iTunes. The better the guests we can bring, and our ranking will go higher also. Thanks again for following us and really getting the most out of it. Please comment, like, share, because we would love to bring better and better material for you. So did you grow up right there in Utah area then, or how?
I actually grew up in Oregon, but moved to Utah in my 20s, mainly because the two best schools, the world champions for ballroom dancing, were both in Utah. And I started to learn ballroom dancing, and I said, even though I'm a sociology major, I wouldn't mind minoring in ballroom dancing because I was getting to be pretty good at it. So I came down, got on the world championship team for 2 years, and enjoyed my time dancing.
Somebody as accomplished ballroom dancer. I'm fascinated, very fascinated. Actually, my wife and our family, they're heading out to Utah end of this month to the Zion Park, the national park.
Oh, yeah.
Just excited.
Just down south of me.
Yeah. So let's get into the deep sense of what do you do now? How are you able to kind of change the attitude of investors to not make the money stationary? It needs to
Yes.
move. It needs to have the ripple effect, right?
That's right. Yeah, you got to get money out of prison. That's the big thing I tell people, especially lately.
Yeah.
More money's in prison now than it ever has been. I mean, more people keep money in savings accounts because if you're scared of the stock market, you should be, because the stock market right now has been going up for so long. It's broken all the records.
Yes.
It has never gone up this much in a 13-year in a row period. And that's why we're seeing the stock market start to head downward right now, so far year to date as of this recording. And so that's a big issue. So a lot of people are holding on to cash. Some people have money stuck in the stock markets because they're just not sure what to do otherwise. Or you got equity stuck in your home. If you think about it, all this money, whether it's money in savings, money in your retirement plans or mutual funds, money that's stuck in your house, it's not paying you anything. And that's what I find is I get a lot of these people that are like the Dave Ramsey poster children, right? They paid off all their debt and now all they have is maybe their mortgage, and they have built up this nice savings, but they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to get that savings to actually pay them regular, stable, predictable passive income. And that's what we do.
7.8% or 7.9. Inflation might be even 11.9% in some studies I'm reading. I mean, it's just like losing money. I mean, just sitting every night, you're losing money in the savings account and everywhere else. You're right. Yeah. Wow.
That's right. Just sit in those places, you're losing. Imagine how bad that would be if we still keep having inflation of 8, 9, 10%. And that's, by the way, that's what the government reports. I actually believe inflation is at least 5% higher than whatever you hear from the government. So if they say 8.5, it's probably more like 14 at least, right? Exactly. So think about that. If it's just 10% that the inflation rate's going up, but then the stock market decides to drop 20%, you didn't just lose 20%. You lost 20% plus 10.
Yes.
So think about it. I mean, if you had $100,000 in the market, because of inflation, you need to have $110,000 just to keep up. But if that 100,000 became 80, now you have to make up this $30,000 gap with just $80,000. And the problem is, if it goes up again 10% the next year, or even just 9% even, well, now that 110,000, you have to have $120,000. Okay. That 80,000 now needs to make a 50% rate of return, make $40,000 to even just get you back on track again, which it just doesn't do. Usually the market goes down quickly and then comes back up more slowly. And that's the thing, is that we're really, the places where people have been saving their money, trying to pay off their debts, like good boys and little girls, even the low interest debt that's less than inflation right now, and they're saving in places that just don't produce enough. What you have is, it's like a Dalmatian really just hopelessly chasing a fire truck. Eventually that Dalmatian is going to give up, right? It's going to stop chasing the fire truck because it can't keep up. That's what's happening with everybody, with keeping their money in the stock market, with keeping their money in their home and equity. They just can't keep up. And I'm finding that people that have done everything they've been asked to do, yet they can't retire. What's amazing is that I'll get people, just yesterday we had a mastermind with a lot of our clients. There was one guy, he was a colonel in the National Guard in California. And he just retired, had some money. We got him going from a few hundred a month to 12,000 a month of passive income within 6 months.
Wow.
Right. Wow. We had a rancher from Nevada. He's about to get his over 115, 120,000 a year of passive income when he had zero. So we've got these people all the time that, again, money was locked up in prison. We're unlocking that money and showing them, helping them strategize first and foremost, like how, what can we do with the money? How do we get the money out? And then 2, what do we do with the money? We don't actually tell them they should invest in certain places. We're not investment advisors, but we do have a whole vetted, team of people that have different investments that are in places like turnkey real estate investments, where you don't manage the property. Somebody else manages the real estate property for you. You collect the checks. Or syndications, where you can pull your money together with other people to buy an apartment building or a self-storage unit or something like that, or oil, land that they're doing oil drilling on, things of that nature, which has been really good lately.
Sure.
So many different things you can be doing.
ATMs and real estate websites, farming, Bitcoin mining. I mean, look at all these different things. I know there are a lot more than that. Hotels, like I'm into hotel purchases and syndications,
Mhm.
into multifamily, senior assisted living. I'm really big
Yeah.
on now with developments and purchasing and building them all over because of the, what's that? About 10,000 baby boomers are retiring, turning 65 every day in USA. So,
Yeah.
so
They're
what you
turning 65, but they can't retire.
they cannot. I just went on your website, brother, and you said, what was that statistic? Was mind-boggling to me that I wanted to bring it up. Let's see here. That 10,000. No, what was that statistic? Hold on, I should have brought it up here before I started this show. Superpowers gave your team, okay, something statistically. You said that poverty level, right? It's
Mhm.
just, you want to expand on that while I look for this one here? Man, I thought I had it.
Yeah. Well, it could be, I mean, it might be like the math equation I tell people is if you happen to save up $1 million in
Uh-huh.
mutual funds, right? Which is no easy feat. But if you
Mhm.
happen to save up $1 million, you're only supposed to pull out 3% a year. It's funny because people used to say the 4% rule, right? Is that whatever you've saved up, you can live on 4%. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you, even 20 years ago, we were questioning that as financial advisors. And again, we're not financial experts, but we're starting to wonder on the planning side. We said, well, based on inflation and what's the real rates of inflation and taxes and people living longer, is 4% too much? And just last October, the Wall Street Journal came out and said, yes, it is. They said, really, it should be more like 3% you're living on. I've been telling people 2 or 3% for 15 plus years.
Mhm.
But guess what? They said 3% is probably a better number to use. And that, again, they're estimating. So think about it. You save up $1 million to then live on 30,000 a year.
Yeah. How can
And that's before taxes come out.
Oh,
You're a broke millionaire. You're living below the poverty level as a millionaire. If you think about that strategy versus I have $1 million. If somebody has $1 million, which we had several clients be in this situation where they have about $1 million,
yeah.
you take that money, even if you only make a 10% rate of return, which we can make more in the alternative space, but say they make a conservative 10% return, that's instead of living on 30,000 a year, they're now able to live on 100,000 a year and
Yeah.
not even touch their principal.
So you are, Kurt, what you're saying, I'm trying to understand, are the alternative ways to invest to start passive streams of income, from what I can tell, right? And like you said,
Yep.
the turnkey rental market, which is pretty huge, in single family homes, in all the emerging markets, apartments, like you mentioned, storage units in syndications, private, syndications and 506Bs and Cs, like I do.
Mhm.
Then you mentioned about ATMs or maybe some other things. So, what other avenues, other than these, are you also looking where people feel comfortable, right, to invest?
Yeah, and that's the key thing is where do people feel comfortable? And that's why you have to have multiple options, right? For example, sometimes we'll do short-term lending. Not a great long-term strategy, but it's something to kind of fill in the gaps.
Yep.
Where you might lend your money out for 10, 11, 15% a year.
Yeah.
For it could be 1 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, a year, 18 months.
Yeah.
I have people that do things with more pre-construction type of things where they partner on deals. They don't invest, but they partner together on deals.
Mhm.
And and it's just by rezoning the land, sometimes you can double the value of the property.
Yep.
So
Yes.
you might be able to get a
I'm doing
50%,
every day.
60% rate of return in 18 months just
Yeah.
by selling the land to somebody else who's building an apartment building on that lot.
Yeah.
Especially now where we have a real housing shortage in the United States.
Yep.
There's even franchises. A lot of people don't realize if you have an IRA, you can self-direct the IRA and invest in a franchise. And I don't mean McDonald's, right? There are a lot of small business type of franchises you can invest in. When I was looking at it in 2020, I was debating about whether I want to buy a franchise to add to my portfolio.
Mhm.
I was looking at things like junk removal. I was looking at a running gym, almost like Peloton, because that was starting to become popular in 2020. I was looking at the running aspect because I'm a runner. I was looking at, I'm trying to remember what else. Oh, I was looking at like hair salon, like renting out to hairstylists and hair salon owners renting out to them, creating the real estate space, and then they rent from you. Things like that. I mean, there's so many things you can do that aren't necessarily the popular thing of, trying to buy that In-N-Out burger franchise or Chick-fil-A or whatever it is. You can actually do a lot of stuff there. My favorite right now has been raw land. I have a partnership that I'm doing with a guy that buys and sells raw land.